Hi, Grayson, Isley, and Atlas. Remember, the campers were sitting by the stream with the fish swimming in it. We had just finished our chocolate bar. It was so good. And the counselor was putting away the wrappers because remember, you can't leave anything on the trail. You got to keep it clean and nice because it's God's forest. He had just finished closing his knapsack and he said, okay, everybody stand up. We're going to keep going. And suddenly a sound came floating over the trees. It was a bugle. It was a small trumpet. And we all kind of stopped and said, what's that? A trumpet, a bugle call up on the mountain? What's going on? And the counselor said, shh, listen. And there it came again. A trumpet sound. It sounded like it was pretty far away, but it didn't sound like a normal trumpet sound. It sounded like the guy was in trouble. So the two counselors put their heads together and talked quietly. And then they said, we're going to go after that. We think that's a cry for help. We think that guy's in trouble, whoever's playing that trumpet, and we got to go help him out. So we all stood up and started off down the trail, and we kept hearing the trumpet sound, the bugler. He was but it sounded kind of like that, kind of weak. Wasn't a very clear, beautiful trumpet sound. It sounded like the guy was like in trouble. He was sick or something. So we kept walking down the trail, and then we went off to the side and listened, and the trumpet sound was coming from over to the west. So we took off the trail and started to bushwhack. That means you walk through the trees without a trail. We bushwhacked in the direction of the sound, and it got louder and louder. And suddenly, my counselor said, everybody stop. And we looked, and there was an old hermit man. He had on a gray robe and sandals, and he had a white beard and long white hair. And he was standing over next to a couple of trees, blowing his bugle. Well, we walked over to him and said, hello, can we help you? Are you in trouble? And he was startled to see anybody. He didn't think he would see anybody in the forest. And he said, my name is Hermit Williams. I'm Hermit Williams from the land of Zulana. And we're in trouble. We need help. The armies are coming. And my counselor kind of scratched his head and said, what's going on with this guy? Who is this? And why is he talking like that? I'm Hermit Williams from the land of Zulana, and the armies are coming and we need help. Well, okay, sir, calm down, said my counselor. Tell me a little bit more. What's going on? And he said, well, if you go through this little arch, and he pointed, and we saw a stone arch that was kind of standing off between two of the beech trees in the woods. And there it was made out of stone. You know, two columns and then an archway, sort of like a doorway that you walk through. And he said, on the other side of that arch, that doorway, is my country, and we're in trouble, and I came over here to get some help. Are you going to come rescue us? Are you going to come help fight our armies? my counselors just kind of scratched their head and said, we don't know what to make of this guy. Well, Hermit William, what do you want us to do? Come with me. Come through the arch, and you'll see. We need your help. I need all of those men. And he pointed at us. He pointed his finger at us 5 campers. Remember, there's 5 campers and 2 counselors from the Red Fox cabin. And he said, I need all you guys to fight. We got a big battle, and we need help. My counselors said, oh, okay, Hermit William, we'll come help you. And my one counselor kind of looked at my other counselor and winked and said, sure, if we go through the arch, we're going to go into a new country. This guy's off his rocker, but we got to at least pretend that we're going to help him out. So we lined up, and Hermit William said, follow me. And he walked right through the arch and disappeared. He's gone, I said to my friend John. He's gone. He walked through the arch and disappeared. What's going on here? It's like magic. And my counselors kept on walking. They followed him. And one by one, we walked through that arch, and we all disappeared. We found ourselves on the other side of the arch in a big green pasture. There were castles, big stone castles, like from many years ago, and a big rolling green meadow and a waterfall on the other side. And there were horses, and way off in the distance, we could hear fighting. There was the king's army was fighting against the evil army from the other country. And I kind of rubbed my eyes and said, wow, this isn't possible. We were just on the Dug Mountain on our trail for Deerfoot, and now we're in another country. This is magic. So I grabbed my hand and clapped my hands together, but it was true. We were in a different country, and there in the distance we could see the armies, and there were horses, and down on the side was a bunch of other armies marching toward the battle. And my counselors went over to the Hermit Williams and said, how did we get here? Now what are we supposed to do? And how do we get back? We can't stay here for a long time. We're in the middle of a hike. We got to get back to the Dug Mountain and complete our hike and then go down and go back to Indian campsite and have our sleep. What are we doing here? And the Hermit Williams said, listen, I promise I'll get you back to where you were before. Just come and help. Please come and help. So off we walked toward the battlefield, and up came running a boy, and behind him was a cart, and on the cart were swords. And he stopped the cart and he said, everybody find a sword that works. So we all went over and found a sword from the cart and took it up and started to wave it. And we looked at our counselors, and they had somehow turned into knights. Knights, real fighting knights with swords and a helmet and armor. It was amazing. And then we looked down at ourselves. We had armor on. We had turned into knights. And here there were 7 fighting knights, ready to go to battle with our swords, our helmets, our armor, our footgear. We were ready to go into battle. Wow! I love you guys, and I'll tell you about how the battle went next time. Have a great sleep.